Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, GCRB Kraus.
We're back for another guest episode. Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, please welcome to the BumbleKast, SonicPAJ.
Hey, that's right. It's me, SonicPAJ. Not SonicPAJ, nor SonicPAJ, and definitely not SonicPAJ, but SonicPAJ.
Welcome to the show, Sonic Pajamas.
And not SonicPAJ, I hope. Well, maybe.
SonicPAJ.
I don't know. Maybe
when I go through my villain arc, maybe.
So, for those who do not know, who are you, sir, and what has brought you to the BumbleKast?
Hey there. My name is SonicPAJ, or the PAJ, short for Philip A. Jones. I'm an online voice actor. I've been a huge fan of Sonic since I was 4 years old, thanks to the game Sonic Schoolhouse. I'm also a writer and independent film director. I say this as if I've made a bunch of big stuff. No, it's just the things I do, and since I have done them, that's what I am. So that's how it works. I'm one of those artistic type of people. Please don't make me do math. Please don't.
No.
No, there will be no math here. This is a safe place.
Sanctuary. So
you're very good at that. Just to say.
Thank you very much. I, like any other guest, come bearing questions, except these questions come with a little hypothetical framing device around them. We're going to go on an adventure. Are you ready?
I certainly hope so. I feel Bilbo-ish as we are.
Most excellent.
Let's do it.
Oh dear, Mr. Flynn, it appears you have been paid a visit by Mr. Truck-kun, and have been isekai'd to a world where everything seems the same, except you are also a semi-famous voice actor, but also have a few extra jobs yet to be specified. As a trade-off, important people to you may not recognize you in this world, giving you incentive to complete your tasks so you may return. Oh, and Mr. Kraus is also your one-man entourage and occasional agent/manager/advisor. Any discrepancies with the real world can be dismissed, since this is technically another world. So, without further ado, let us begin Mr. Flynn's Bizarre Adventure, Partisode 1. This fan is a menace. Don't worry, guys, I'm actually a really nice dude. Ready for question 1?
Okay. Questions in the world where I am a moderately successful voice actor.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
I
have my motivation, Mr. Director.
Most excellent. Congratulations, Mr. Flynn. Remember that Sonic anime by Hiroyuki Imaishi you auditioned for? Well, you've officially been cast as Dr. Starline. One problem, though. The recording for this anime is going to be done in Studiopolis in L.A. for the proper production value, so you have to be present in booth. Do you still accept this offer? Well, now's your chance to be a big shot.
Well, considering that I don't live in a universe where I have all the usual connections I do, yes, of course. I might even have enough money to pay for the plane. Hot diggity.
Good. Well, looks like you're headed to the big city, Mr. Flynn. But as a Californian myself, I can say L.A. is not the safest place in the world. So to prepare, I need you to choose a martial art from this short list of commonly available styles. Though if there is another style you want to add, I'm sure there's a studio that teaches that somewhere around. There's, of course, karate. This well-rounded Okinawan Japanese system teaches punches, hand strikes, kicks, and even elbows and knees, and even a little bit of grappling. The downside is there's no ground game, so if you're tackled, you're out of luck. There's Taekwondo, the Korean offshoot of karate that's predominantly kicking. Great for long-range fighting, but if they close in, it's game over. American Kenpo. It's like karate, but faster, and almost entirely based on self-defense sequences, where the user executes a series of moves to strike an attacker's weak points to make their body react in a position to be struck again. Great for perceiving available targets from any position, but mediocre against fighting other martial artists. Boxing. The sweet science has the best hands in the game and the slickest footwork. But since you train with wraps and gloves, you may get a fracture if you punch bare knuckle, since it's designed for ring fighting. Muay Thai. Thailand's kickboxing style, known as the science of 8 limbs, uses punches, kicks, elbows, knees, and feet to absolutely crush opponents in one-on-one bouts. While the conditioning is unparalleled, like boxing, it's not designed for self-defense. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Made popular in the 90s by the Gracie family, the style takes all the joint locks and chokes from Japanese jiu-jitsu and brings it all to the ground. BJJ is fantastic for securing an attacker without needing to hurt them, but if you get entangled while there's multiple attackers, you're plumb out of luck. Krav Maga. This Israeli combat system takes the fundamental strikes of karate and boxing and the basic grappling of jiu-jitsu and blends them to a quick and ready defensive art where the practitioner aggressively attacks the weak points of an assailant until they are through. Krav Maga imparts a great unstoppable mentality, but its emphasis on aggressive gross motor movements may make the strikes inaccurate compared to more traditional arts. Now, there's tons of other great arts out there, like the throwing sport of judo, there's many groups of wrestling, and there are seemingly infinite amounts of kung fu styles. The list here is the most common styles to train in. Please pick, for it's better to have and not need than need and not have. You too, Mr. Krause.
Since Mr. Krause here is already my one-man entourage and ever-present buddy, I'll just hide behind him.
Oh, living dangerously, I see. Well, since you're the guardian, Mr. Krause, which one do you choose?
Oh, guns.
Guns. Good old gun fu. Gonna go John Wick on him.
Either that or running and screaming.
It's like the bear joke. You don't have to outrun the bear. You just got to outrun the other person the bear's chasing.
Exactly. Or gun kata, gun fu. Yeah. I mean, that's cool.
I see you've also trained under Master Glock. But to more seriously address your question, whenever I've been in a scrape myself, I kind of tend to grapple.
Yeah.
I don't have the discipline or the lack of panic to use anything remotely disciplined. I just kind of use my size to my advantage and, move in quick, overwhelm, and hopefully that's the end of it.
You make a great wrestler. Or if you know grab on a jacket's great at judo throwing. Nothing hits harder than the earth, they say. So yeah. Next question. Okay, Mr. Flynn, your role as Dr. Starline has landed you a spot at the famous Pop Culture Convention panel, but your way there, you take a wrong turn and end up in the Men's Health Magazine panel instead, right as the Q&A starts. No turning back now. An audience member then asks, physical health is important, but what about all the mental health? Mr. Flynn, please share with this young audience member some tips and habits you, as a writer, partake in to stay in tip-top mental shape. How do you keep focused and sane when you have so much work to do?
Well, I would advise them to pick up my barely sold autobiography, study it carefully, and use it as an example of what not to do.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
In all seriousness, though, handful of rules of thumb that I wish I could convince my younger self to have invested in is relax. The sun will rise tomorrow. You cannot control everything, nor should you. And take time off.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to fix everything. Other people have responsibilities too.
Wow. I know I'm definitely going to use those tips. But now, you're in a hotel room trying to relax by only watching the credits theme of The Raccoons, when suddenly, appearing before you, is Sega's head ninja, Joe Musashi, from the hit Genesis game Shinobi 3. He says, "Come with me, Mr. Flynn." So he leads you to a taxi who begins to drive you to an airport at a rapid pace. He then, the taxi driver, asks you a question. Hey, you ever seen Speed Racer? Either the anime or the movie? Not gonna lie, I thought the movie was peak cinema. In my opinion, it was a faithful adaptation of the anime, while still creating a fresh take on the world that focused on the imagination of the concept as opposed to just making it a 60s period piece or something. Have you seen it? What do you think?
To which I reply, hold on just a second, Joe. Sorry, buddy, I have not seen it. It's been on my to-do list for a long time, but I just haven't made time for it yet.
That's too bad. What about you? Was it Mr. Krause?
I also have it on my to-watch list. I know that it didn't do very well, but I was wanting to watch it after hearing about how it was more in the spirit of the original than I'd given it credit for, than it had been given credit. So I do want to watch it. So.
Oh, absolutely. It was so fast, it was ahead of its time. During that era, everyone's going all dark and gritty, The Dark Knight, and there's the start of the MCU too. and Speed Racer was the super colorful, bombastic film that was just did what it wanted to do.
Yeah.
And now we get things like Thor Ragnarok, Spider-Verse, and all the colorful movies all around. But yeah, Speed Racer did it first, or at least did it before it was popular, and I got to give it credit for that.
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure. And I mean, you think it would be like right up my alley. I'm sure I will love it when I do watch it. So
Yeah, you can find like a DVD copy at like almost every other Goodwill.
yeah. It's out there. Yeah, for sure.
Same with a Top Gun VHS. That's like it's ubiquitous. And the Born Again and the Born trilogy.
The Born Again trilogy.
That's the Pureflix version.
That's different.
Yeah.
Now, I have to note that
no,
I have to note Joe Masashi only came looking for me. Kyle's somehow in the cab, so I'm assuming that Kyle was just like stuffed in my roller bag at any time. It just kind of pops out Oscar the Grouch style.
I'm just always there somehow.
in the spirit of Speed Racer, he'd be like Spritle and Chim Chim, who always hide in the trunk.
Yes.
Yeah, all right, there we go.
Quick non sequitur. Kyle, have you heard of a band called the Aquabats before? They're like a ska punk divo with a superhero theme.
Yes, I am passingly familiar with them, but I'm not really like I couldn't tell you any of their songs, honestly. But I have heard of them. Does that count for anything?
Yeah, it is what I asked. I did ask if you heard of them.
Yes.
But yeah, I got to see them last Tuesday live. I listened to some of their music. If you like really like fun, positive music, that's also safe for kids. They're a good pick. Like the most famous song is Super Rad, but my favorite song of theirs is The Legend, or The Legend is True. So keep those in mind if you ever want something that'll get you hyped, but is also fun and a little nonsensical.
Yeah, I know they have some songs about MST3K, and MST3K is referenced back to them. So yeah, it's fun. That's fun stuff.
They know a lot of people. I'm surprised. Like they have their whole free American Tokusatsu TV show like on their YouTube channel that played on the Hub, and there's like so many like guest stars. Like they give like Weird Al in the season 1 finale, and they even have like Strong Bad show up as Strong Bad as a circus carny who owns a Cobra Man. It's pretty amazing.
Awesome. That's awesome.
But now the journey continues. The taxi drives you to the airport, and you board a plane to Japan. On the plane, you encounter a Japanese businessman who works for Toei Company. You begin talking about tokusatsu and how Power Rangers is an adaptation of Super Sentai, and even tells you the story of the original Kamen Rider. Genius student and bike racer Hongo Takashi is kidnapped by the evil secret organization Shocker and is reconstructed into a grasshopper-looking cyborg. But before the brainwashing is complete, he is freed by Professor Midorikawa, who went missing long ago. As they escape, Hongo realizes he has super strength and is no longer human, so he pledges to fight back Shocker and their monstrous cyborgs for the rest of his inhuman life. The series since has then evolved to have multiple colorful riders as well as a host of marketable toyetic gimmicks. As the flight continues, he offers you to play a game of Mad Libs with you. Given how long of a flight it is, you play along. You and Kyle can take turns with the answers. I'm going to need the name of a city. You can make up anything.
Toronto.
An adjective.
Shoot.
No, that's a verb.
That's a verb. I know. Smartass. Nope, that's a noun. That's just what I'm calling you, Ian.
That could be an adjective. Was it an H at the beginning or an L?
It's an S. Smartass.
Oh, smart. I thought you said either hard ass or a lard ass.
No.
I mean, both are applicable.
No. Smart.
I need an intimidating word.
Cacophony.
Cacophony.
That's a good one.
A name.
Jim Bob.
Very good. Object.
Cleaver.
Small objects.
Screws.
A place.
Neverland.
A very cool made-up word.
Funkalicious.
Beautiful. All right. Color.
Blue. No.
Hold on. Noun.
BumbleKast.
Nice product placement. Yeah.
Marketing. Merchandising.
Another noun?
Goat.
Let's see. Verb.
Carjacking.
Carjacking.
Yeah.
Adjective.
Cromulent.
Establishment.
Pizzeria.
Beautiful. Adjective.
Swiftly. That's more of an adverb, isn't it?
Let's say swift.
Yeah, sure.
Noun or name?
The Great Gonzalez.
Excellent. Verb ending in ing.
It's sad how quickly I went off of family friendly with that. Skipping.
Verb.
Flying.
Body part.
Uvula.
How do you spell that?
I don't know. You're the one writing it down.
UVU.
LA?
LUA? Or no, yeah, LA. Yeah.
That makes sense. An esoteric word.
Funkalicious.
We already did that one.
Darn. I was hoping it
Very
could be
funkalicious.
I was hoping it could be like a callback. Let's see.
Esoteric, like mysterious.
Yeah.
Wise.
Yeah, I know. It's just it's hard for me to think of these things off the top of my head, like a rubelite.
Very good. Rubelite. Excellent. The man says, well, thank you very much. And then the flight continues. Light noises.
I was going to laugh extremely hard if he said, thank you, and then we landed.
Some flights can feel like that if you have a nice someone to talk to, which has not been always the case for me.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, after a long flight, the plane lands, but as you exit the vehicle, you're not greeted by any Sega representatives, but the Prime Minister of New Zealand. He has summoned you for an emergency meeting. New Zealand has been overrun by wild hedgehogs and calls for the populace to turn them into federal stations. Those have been of no avail. Since these needle mice are too cute, the Prime Minister asks you, since you're the leading expert on anti-hedgehog measurements, as seen with your writing of Dr. Robotnik, what kind of contraptions would you have us all build to get rid of the hedgies? Think of anything. We'll spare no expense.
All right, so what you need to do first is you need to make a semi-spherical golf cart. Then you got to attach a giant hammer to the front of it and drive at the hedgehogs. If that doesn't work, a giant conical drill. All that failing, a giant wrecking ball. Works every time.
Genius. You must have an IQ of 300, Mr. Flynn. Thank you. Thank you so much. Very good. Well, after becoming New Zealand's national hero, you get back onto the plane and stay at the Sega Hotel while you wait to be called on for your meeting. Now you hear a knock at the door. It's a Sega rep who leads you to an office full of head honchos. They have 2 plates with round lids on the table. Platters, if you will. The suited executive at the end of the table speaks with a very fluent American accent. Yokozo, Mr. Flynn. You have served the Sonic series well for many decades, but now we need you to make a decision to place the story on the right path, to evolve the series further, or at least shake things up for a year. After months of deliberating, our board has decided on 2 options. A board member removes 1 lid, revealing a real-life hedgehog. To maximize your potential as a creative, you could choose to keep this Harinezumi, hedgehog, as a pet for a year. He's a perfectly normal little needle mouse, except for the fact that he will passive-aggressively critique your writings as you work. And no, you can't put him elsewhere. If you are writing, he will be there. Otherwise, we have option 2. Another board member removes the lid off the second plate, revealing concept art of realistically drawn, colorful animals. Upon closer inspection, one can see that the hedgehog is blue, gray, and black, with red stripes, 3 different hedgehogs. The yellow fox has 2 tails, and the echidna is red, and so on. They're clearly the Sonic characters. Another ingeniously proposed idea is for you to head the story of this year's big shakeup. All the Sonic characters are real animals now for this whole year in all of Sonic media. How it happens story-wise would be up to you. We know you can make the fans love it if you're at the helm, assuming you choose this option. So what'll it be for the next year? A passive-aggressive hedgehog, or have the entire cast of Sonic as realistic animals? We know you'll make the right decision.
I'll give you the passive-aggressive hedgehog. No hesitation.
And why would you choose the passive-aggressive hedgehog?
I will take the echoing of my own internal thoughts over the blowback and the eternal rage that singular year of derailment would cause.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's very funny.
Yeah. 1 year with a jerk hedgehog compared to endless decades of discourse about that one time Sonic got a little too real. Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. I guess that does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
After Sonic 06 was just one game, you know how much problems that caused. A
Uh-huh.
whole year of the whole franchise. Very good to know. Very good. So you've been called into the voice acting at the nearest studio for the next episode of the Sonic anime. You're back in LA. But there's a terrible twist. All the cast members have lost their voices in an awful accident involving mushroom spores, cardboard cutouts, and Red 40 color dye. The director needs you to fill in for as many voices as possible. You've made your Big, the Cat, and Starline voice well known. How much of the Sonic cast can you play? Can we hear some?
All right. This is my moment to shine. So here we go. Sonic the Hedgehog. Hi, I'm Sonic the Hedgehog. Shadow. Hi, I'm Shadow the Hedgehog. Amy. Hi, I'm Amy Rose. Tails. Hi, I'm Tails. Yeah? We're good? We're good? Quiet, Hedgehog. I'm not asking you. This isn't writing. This is voice work. Writing is a completely different discipline. You're not even on the clock yet. Get back in your cage.
Amy was spot on.
I've been practicing.
I can tell.
The voice of 2023 and onward. Mr. Flynn, you end up discussing writing with a wonderfully witty writer. He asks, in terms of writing, do you ever go through a feedback session where your work gets critiqued outside of the comic editor?
Oh, sure. Because licensing has their say on it too, which is also through another department. So there's lots of feedback all the time. It's weird to get an honest, straight answer in this scenario.
Can you give us a little detail, like how the process goes, or is that like a top secret kind of thing?
I don't know how much all parties involved want, laid bare, but basically I'd go back and forth with the editor first to polish as best we can, and then that's translated, sent to Sega Japan. We get notes back. The licensing department is our liaison for that. And then we work from those notes to further revise and get approvals and move forward.
That's like a 3 or 4 step process?
It's a whole mambo depending on the issue.
That does make sense. Now, if I may share something that I found effective for me personally, this is like to anyone who's listening, something that I usually have done with my table reads, with my scripts, that I find effective is a 4-part feedback session, where after the reading there's part 1, the audience tells the author what stood out to them. Part 2, the author asks questions to the audience because the author subconsciously knows what's wrong with the script. Part 3, the audience asks questions to the author. And finally, in part 4, the audience members may ask, may I give a critique? Which then the author may say yes or no to that request, therefore leaving the power with the author. So that's just how I've been able to do some things with my table reads. If that helps anyone.
What a fascinating degree of executive power you have in that scenario.
Yeah. Oh, quick question. What do you name your passive-aggressive hedgehog?
Am I the bigger man? Do I take the high road? Or no.
No.
I was going to say, do I act passive aggressive as well? But no. Third option, Monty Python reference, Dinsdale.
Perfect. One more major question before the portal opens up. And this one is from a friend of mine who wants to know, do the Mobians/Nermies have the same amount of chromosomes as their real-life animal counterparts? Yeah, I didn't ask this question. This is a friend of mine. Yeah, just letting you know.
Huh. A friend, huh? A friend.
I can
quote, air quotes.
I can quite honestly say that thought never occurred to me. And I am... Now I'm curious about the biology of that. I know these are cartoon animals, so real science goes out the window, but could you have a functioning humanoid with these animal traits with the base animal's chromosome count? I don't know.
I don't think you could for most of them.
Somebody who is someone who's smarter with genetic science. I would love
But-
for them to weigh in. That'd be interesting.
But I also don't know if it matters. So, it is an interesting question, though.
Indeed it is. But like with math, biology is a little beyond my comprehension. I'm just a humble artist, humble director, humble writer, those kind of things. Completely right-brained. I am left-handed, so that's just how it goes. I'm surprised I even graduated from college last May. I needed like so many tutors to pass just the most basic math classes.
Yeah, I've been there. Also, lefties. Hey, lefties.
Let's go!
See, my degree only required a passing grade in basic math. I got my D and waved goodbye.
Yeah, pretty much.
These are passing grades? And I was struggling that hard to get a C?
I think it depends on some places, but yeah, D is supposed to be passing.
I also went to a liberal arts college. I think they had the math course in there strictly because it was part of some kind of grade or requirement.
The government. At it again.
Also, on the other hand, it also had major nursing degree programs. So, I don't know.
There's big money in that.
Lots of people get sick. Everyone gets sick at some point. So I guess we need more nurses. Doctors can't do it all themselves. Congratulations, Ian! You have answered all the necessary questions to return to your world. A portal opens up, and after a moment of deliberating for some reason, you jump in. In the portal, you are traveling at lightning speeds, but are being shaken about. You don't want to be thrown off course into oblivion. Who knows what strange worlds you might be trapped in? The only way to stay on track through the multiverse space-time tunnel is the crossover pitch lightning round. You will be given a series of escalating crossovers ideas, which need a simple one-sentence story pitch. Actually, it doesn't have to be one sentence. That was just I thought we'd be like running out of time when I wrote this, so you can go a little longer. If you don't know the series, just pretend you do. Are you ready? Here we go! Number 1. Sonic Adventure Time.
Okay. Sonic and Tails run through the land of Ooh and are, for some reason, bitter rivals of Finn and Jake for hilarious reasons.
I like hilarity. Let's see. Number 2. Sonic meets Speed Racer. Oh!
Sonic in the Blue Star is the only one who is racing Speed Racer as an equal. They are both friendly rivals as they go on, and somehow when Racer X takes off his helmet, it's revealed to be Shadow.
Oh! What a twist. Now, at the time of writing this, I didn't know you were allowed to watch one of these series. But the pitch is, how would your version of G.I. Joe versus Transformers play out?
I am going to steal the play from, I think IDW did this, or maybe I'm confusing it with their revival of Mask. But basically, robots come to Earth a long time ago. Humans figure out that they're robots in disguise, and the forces of good and evil both try to reverse engineer transforming technology into their vehicles, leading to all sorts of toyetic contraptions.
That sounds like... Yeah, I remember it was like 10 years ago, IDW had the Revolution, which was like a bunch of Hasbro properties like officially getting crossed over. Like at first, G.I. Joe and Transformers, while they were both IDW, were not in the same universe. But then Revolution retconned that, and they also had like Mask, which was retconned to be like Cybertronia technology. They had Rom the Space Knight. They had not the Argonauts, the Cybernauts, Micronauts. I think that's what it was. Yeah,
it's been 10 years.
Yeah, I think that came out in almost about like 10 years, maybe 8, maybe 7. I did like a fan dub of issue 0 back in the day, and that was a really fun time.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Like 2013 felt like yesterday, but that was a decade ago. And yeah, lots of modern movies. I feel like a lot of movies and stuff and styles haven't really evolved that much since like the past couple of decades. I don't know. I might be wrong, but I feel like a lot of techniques since we've gone digital, only like a few have really, really pushed the envelope these days. I mean, there are some markers I think that determine like the decade stylistic choices. I don't know. Maybe it's because I grew up in the 90s, and the difference between the 90s and the 2000s feels really vastly different to me. That I think that. I don't know about you, but that's just what I'm thinking.
Mm.
VHSs to DVDs, DVDs to Blu-rays, but hardly anyone has Blu-rays because everyone's just buying the digital version. Yeah.
I don't know. With all the malarkey that the various streaming companies are pulling now, I think people are starting to wake up to what the doomsayers were saying back in the rise of digital content, is that, physical media has a degree of retention that you just don't have with the ephemeral digital. So I foresee a resurgence of DVD and Blu-ray stuff in the near future, provided the entire entertainment industry doesn't collapse within the next year.
I sure hope so. I mean, like back in the day when I was younger, you had what you had in your VHS and DVD cabinet, and you were happy. And then your friend comes over and says, I got a new movie. It's like, let's go watch it. And it was just so exciting. And like you got lucky with what you had on television. If you got to see an episode of Teen Titans or Justice League, it's like, tonight was a good night. But nowadays, it's so like the what's it called again? The algorithm can just simply give you what you want all the time, and then you get kind of stuck with it, like this endless, I don't know, feedback loop's the right term, but you just watch what you want all the time. And it's like, yeah, this is great, but then it gets a lot harder to introduce yourself to new concepts. You got to do it like really slowly, I feel like. That's why I enjoy thrift shopping, because whenever I find like some cool anime there, it's like, I've never heard of this before. This is exciting. And it has like all the old ADV or manga entertainment commercials. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, go on, throwback, huh? Nice.
Yeah. Next one, speaking about Japan, here's an interesting one. How would you do a crossover of Super Sentai and Power Rangers? The parent series and the Descendant series. The Descendant adaptation.
Didn't they actually do that at one point?
The closest things to that was in an episode of, I believe, Dino Thunder, where the characters watch Super Sentai, and later on in, I think it was Ninja, which is one of the Sentai seasons that became Ninja Steel here in the U.S., one of the actors from Dino Charge had a cameo in that, but they never had like an official the team meets the team crossover. It was just... I
just seem to remember a clip going around of, I felt like it was a Sentai show, and they had like the Green Ranger and the Blue Ranger of all people, and the Sentai team was marking out because they were the American Power Rangers.
Oh, that's from Hikonin Sentai Akiba Ranger, which is Toei's unofficial Sentai series, which is made to parody Super Sentai. Yeah, that one. Then that one, the main cast, they go to an alternate universe where Super Sentai never existed, and all that exists is powerful Rangers. And so it's just like the Red Ranger and like the Green Ranger, and their comic is like they're made super buff because that's like how comics were drawn in the 90s. And it's all like, yay, we're American, so much better than the Japanese. Ho, 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 ho. And they have like
there's some cultural
American flag collars.
Okay. So it's not even Sentai, it's Sentai adjacent. It's a level deeper than Sentai. Gonna say full dimensional crossover. Have your big bads from each series bridge the gap with galactic level threat, and let both teams go whole hog with whatever Zords and upgrades possible, and throw caution to the wind. Just be completely over the top. Play to the strengths of both styles. Have each team really have their moment to shine and wallop the opposing sides or the opposite side's villain in their own unique way. Make it a celebration of each.
Yeah. I feel like the main differences between Super Sentai and Power Rangers is Super Sentai, it really digs into its kabuki roots with all the poses and like all the explosions and the roll calls. It's like since the beginning, Super Sentai, compared to like its other brothers like Ultraman or Kamen Rider, is like more theater of the absurd. Mm-hmm. While when adapted to Power Rangers, they try to turn it into like some sort of like science fantasy ongoing story. There's actually more continuity within Power Rangers than there is Super Sentai, unless it's one of those anniversary seasons in Super Sentai like Go Kaiger or Zen Kaiger, where, oh yeah, we suddenly have all these callbacks. Yeah, they totally existed, sure. So yeah, it's Power Rangers is funny. It's like they're trying to make a series that's originally theater of the absurd into some sort of serious, like semi-serious, like space sci-fi, science fantasy type story. I think that's really interesting, especially when they have original footage, and sometimes the original footage is better than the Sentai, or vice versa. They both have strengths. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, Ian Flynn, Mr. Flynn, you and the Battle Angel Alita manga is a crossover I really like to see. Definitely.
Me in Battle Angel Alita?
Yeah, or either that. Yeah, sure, let's go with that. Originally, it was just going to be you reading the manga, but if you're in the universe, that might even be more immersive.
Drat, I actually haven't seen / read that, so...
Oh, but you should.
I know, add it to the list.
Mm-hmm.
I am the incredibly awkward and bizarre hobo that keeps continually popping up throughout the narrative for no conceivable reason until it's revealed that I stumbled through a crack in the fourth wall, and I'm just trying to, make the final leap home.
I mean, that is pretty plausible. There are a lot of hobos in that series. It is a type of cyberpunk story, after all.
Yes.
Speaking of which, choose a hero, just like of any series.
Spoiled for choice there, goodness. You know what? This hasn't come up on the show a whole lot. Hellboy.
Hellboy. Oh, interesting choice. Hellboy in the world of Cyberpunk 2077. How does that go?
Oh, that's cool as hell. Because you've got all the grime and the glitz and glamour of the cyberpunk genre with the Eldritch horror underneath, so that you aren't ever really sure if what's going on is because of human hubris or demonic shenanigans, which could also be the result of human hubris. And Hellboy himself is going to address all comers in that dry and blunt object direction. So whether he's hefting the Good Samaritan or he's got some kind of rail gun on his shoulder, he's going to blow it up and he's going to save the day, and it's going to be cool.
Honestly, he fits right in.
Cyberpunk Hellboy. Yeah. Yo. I dig it.
You
I
chose wisely. Okay, I don't know what I think I might have been really tired when I wrote this one, but apparently I thought it was funny. Sonic versus Interior Crocodile Alligator. I drive a Chevrolet movie theater. Don't ask me what I was saying.
That reference goes right over my head, but we've already established that IDW event was 10 years ago, so I feel old enough as it is. We've got a talking gator. Sonic will get along just fine. The guys got a ride. They'll either go cruising together, sightseeing, or Sonic will run alongside it to race it. See how fast this thing goes.
Oh, that's very wholesome of you, Mr. Flynn. I appreciate that. My chromosomally confused friend wants to ask, in the spirit of Superman versus Muhammad Ali, my buddy wants to know, could a speedless Sonic the Hedgehog beat Mike Tyson in a boxing match?
No.
No. That's pretty definitive.
A full speed Sonic the Hedgehog might survive Mike Tyson, but beat? No. No. Cue the big arms theme. Sonic's about to get smooshed.
And not enough rings for this bout. And finally, wow, this is kind of dark. And finally, how would Sonic fare against WHS, or Wobbly Hedgehog Syndrome, a mysterious, real-life debilitating condition that makes hedgehogs gradually lose all their motor functions?
Oh, goodness. What a horrible disease. It would initially trip him up a little bit, but because Sonic is ever adaptable and has the indomitable spirit, he would manage to turn it into some kind of running form of Drunken Master style.
Ooh, way to adapt. I like it. You did it! You see the light at the end of the tunnel. It gets closer. You reach out. It's burning brighter and brighter until finally you wake up at your desk. Was that all just a dream? You log onto your social media site, whichever one you prefer, and begin scrolling. And it's there you see a trailer for a new Tokusatsu Henshin Hero series. As it goes as follows. In the city of Neo-Toronto, Japan, smart-ass monsters known as cacophonoids mess with the populace. A young man named Jim Bob accidentally receives a powerful belt driver powered by cleaver-shaped screws from Neverland, allowing them to henshin into Kamen Rider Funkalicious. With the suit in the theme of a BumbleKast and the motif of a goat, Kamen Rider Funkalicious now has the power to carjack the Cacophonoids. But unbeknownst to Jim Bob and his friends at the Cromulent Pizzeria, the Great Gonzalez Corporation is skipping everyone involved, flying the uvula of Rubelite and henshin with Kamen Rider Funkalicious. Wow. Interesting words. As it turns out, the Toei Company member was the writer for an upcoming season of Kamen Rider. He just needed nouns, verbs, and adjectives to fill in this year's formula, and you helped him write it. But don't worry, there's some fine print in the writer's credit on the screen. But then again, it's written in katakana, so I can't tell for sure. After all, you met this common writer in another world.
Ba-ba-ba.
And once again, I remind myself never to take Sudafed. It just messes with me, man.
Don't do drugs, kids.
No, don't. Common writer is no common writer. Hey.
Well, is this part where I do the plugins?
Yes.
Yes, please. The wild ride has certainly reached its conclusion. So where can folks find you after the show?
Well, thank you so much for having me on the show. On the internet, I go by SonicPAJ, as mentioned before. I'm a voice actor, writer, and content creator. You can find a lot of my videos on my YouTube channel, SonicPAJ. Capital S-O-N-I-C, capital P, capital A, capital J. Same with Twitter, or X. I also write my own sci-fi action-adventure martial arts series called Zone Runner. You can see the artwork on my Instagram at Zone Runner Project, and see the soundtrack videos and short film Zone Runner Action on my other YouTube channel, Zone Runner. 2 words, all caps, though you're more likely to find it if you look up Zone Runner OST. You can even read some ever-evolving drafts of the scripts on Wattpad, also by Zone Runner Project. 1 word. And of course, if you need some enthusiastic voice acting, email me at sonicracer53@yahoo.com or philipajonesva@gmail.com using the appropriate subject line. Please, no safe for work projects. Or no safe for work projects. Yeah.
The syntax is really important on that one.
No safe for work projects. Oh, no.
He's a very enthusiastic voice actor.
No. It's the other way around. Don't listen to me. I'm just making a joke.
Get in the roller bag, Kyle. I don't need your content anymore.
Okay.
I have my passive-aggressive hedgehog Dinsdale to rule the show now.
Good.
Yeah. So yeah, feel free to check out my channel. Now, I know, Mr. Flynn, you cannot watch fan series, so you'd have to proceed with caution if you ever check out my main channel, SonicPAJ, such as my Sonic with voice acting series, which is my own interpretation of the formerly dubious canon. But there's lots of other interesting original content on there, too. Kyle, you're free to go wherever you please.
Well, I'll just go.
I think we left poor Joe Musashi back on the plane, but he's a competent ninja. He'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Yeah. Wait. One more thing. I just want to say, the best song from the 1986 Transformers movie is neither You've Got the Touch or Dare. My personal favorite, which is objectively the best, is Nothing's Gonna Stand in Our Way. Not tonight. Yeah, that one.
That's a good one, too. They're all good. That's fair enough. That whole freaking movie is just banger after banger. I mean, that's really what it is.
Yeah, it definitely has that 80s style to it.
Yes.
And that's undeniable. It's like, it's so good. It's no wonder these modern, I feel like since 2010, everyone's been trying to go back to the 80s.
Yeah. Well, it's a 30-year cycle, so we're getting into the 90s now.
Yeah, but then once we hit the 2010s, do we just go back to the 80s? And is it just repeatedly 80s, 90s, 2000s, 80s, 90s, 2000s? Since the algorithm forced nostalgia on us? That's kind of terrifying.
Yeah. Well, it's weird. It might be that way. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
The wheel of Ka will continue to turn until we finally get it right.
Yeah. The actual 80s had a lot of 50s in it, so, and then the 90s there was some 70s, obviously. So, yeah, it's really a cycle. We'll probably get a I mean, it really just depends.
Until everything is covered in denim and neon, we will persevere.
Yep.
Yeah. Speaking about the 80s, special thanks to the BumbleKast for introducing me to the song Run With Us. I listen to it at least 10 times a day. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. It's a really good song.
Yes.
But it's also really catchy and heartwarming and all that good stuff. And I'm like, oh, wow, I can't believe I never heard of this before. And there needs to be more covers of that song, just more people showing appreciation to it. Yeah.
Nice. It is a very good song. Better than The Touch? I don't know, but still very good.
Well, thank you so much to SonicPAJ for just having one of the most interesting guest spots we have had. It has truly been a wild ride.
That was the goal.
And it was achieved in spades. Kyle, you got anything to wrap the show up with?
Nope, let's get out of here.
All right, then. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other, and we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
Stay way past school.
Oh, no, it's him.
Yeah, just check him. Keep you on your toes. Okay, have fun, kids.
All right. The mic goes XLR into the
box.
The Scarlet, and then the Scarlet goes USB into your computer. Into your computer.
Modern technology.
Yeah.
Coaxial cables.
Analog.
XLR.
XLN.
Like the script. I was worried that Mr. Flynn would be like, I'm on the other side of America. I'm so tired. I can't handle this guy. But no, he was a good sport.
We have fun here. We're open to having fun with our guests too. So
yeah,
and that was fun.
Bold of you to assume I have posture at all. Like the mighty prawn, I crawl towards anything, everything, always stumbling forward, ever closer to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
No wonder you're so good at riding Sonic. You're already in that ball position.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
One must skied, keyed.
So that's your Sonic voice. And we all complained that Roger was too deep. But no.
It's jelly and jam time.
Who complained that Roger's voice was too deep?
Oh, come on, Kyle.
Let me see your face. Let me slap it around a little bit. You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org.
Hey, it's me, SonicPAJ, not SonicPAJ, nor SonicPAJ, and definitely not SonicPAJ, but SonicPAJ is a little graduation present to myself. Graduated last May, though.
Nice.
Hey, congratulations.
Awesome.
Thank you. Got my degree in communications, but I have no idea what I'm going to do with it.
That's the college experience, yeah, pretty much.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it is intended to be PAJ. And was it always PAJ from the beginning?
Yes, when I was in 4th or 5th grade, I created PAJ Incorporated, which would be my great multi-corporational business with my initials on it. But I also had a friend who had similar initials, so it kind of worked out. We both have a middle name of Alexander.
Nice. All right, so for some reason I thought, like you said, it was PAJ. So I think we started trying to do PAJ, and then we ended up screwing that up and mumbling out PAG half the time. And then you said, no, it's Patch. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Rhymes with badge.
Wait a minute, hold on, Patch. I thought you said it wasn't Patch. I mean, I don't know. Whatever you say now is the one I'll go with. So here we are.
Indeed. SonicPAJ.
Purge. Good. All right, cool. SonicPAJ.
So just in case